Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here this morning. Can I just ask if anyone has, if I can just type it with the Western character, please? And thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon. I have a couple of quick housekeeping stuff to tell. Maybe Solang, if you want to hold on, let me admit people. Solang, if you want and to say something about the interpretation or about anything that you feel like you want to share this afternoon, please go ahead and do so.
Sorry, Alicia, I was cut in the beginning. I don't know what.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I think there's maybe some. Oh, here. I hear you. Thank you.
I was cut at the beginning, so I cannot hear you well.
I don't know if it's me, but I really hear you very robotic. Anyway, I was just wondering if you have anything to say or anything you want to share, or if there's anything you want to say about the translation.
Yes, thank you. I think everyone knows about that.
Sorry, he's not very clear. I think his line is not very good. Yeah. Okay, as usual, we provide interpretation services in this session as well. So if you need interpretation, so you can go to the globe icon and choose Khmer to hear Khmer interpretation. If you want to hear English, you can choose English. Yeah, or you can choose the original. Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Solang. And really quick, if anybody has their name in Khmer, typed in Khmer alphabet, please turn that into the Western character so that we can assign the breakout rooms easily later on. So thank you for that. So today we have a pretty packed interactive schedule for today. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start sharing my presentation, and then you will have your time to shine and your moment to share what you have been doing in the last week that we haven't seen each other. So I'll just start sharing my screen. And I think it's feasible, but for some reason, hold on. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay.
Hello, Alicia. Can you hear me?
Hi, Turk. How are you?
Yeah, actually, do we have to report the selected for competency now or later? Because
yeah, say that again. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Do we have to report the selected for competency now or do it later?
We will share them, but just give me a quick second because for some reason I cannot present for some reason, which I don't understand why. It just doesn't let me do the present option, right, which is really bizarre as it was working yesterday. I'm sorry, bear with me just 1 second because this is unusual. What? Okay, that is really weird.
Alicia, just in case you have the technical in sharing the screen, so you can send the link into the chat so I can share it for you.
I can share the screen. The thing is that it doesn't let me present, so it just appears as a list of slides, which is not what I wanted. So So that is really weird because up until yesterday, it was obviously working perfectly. I just want to make sure I have the presentation option, and it is not happening, and I really have no idea why that's the case. So what I can do, I'm just gonna do it in the preview mode, which is less than ideal, but you will receive the link anyway, so you'll be able to get the presentation, the full slides of the presentation. It's just a different way of presenting it. I guess they want me to upgrade to premium. It feels like. So hold on. No, there's no way I can do this, right? Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna present it as a preview, and it will just appear with a blue background behind, which doesn't make much difference, but I'm sorry about that.
Or another option, is it okay if you just leave for a moment and rejoin it again? Just let's see what it will work.
I can try that too, thank you. Hold on. Okay. All right, and I hear there are people that cannot hear well. Is it okay?
For me, I could hear you well.
You can hear me well.
Yeah.
Okay.
ចង់ជំរាបសួរលោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូផ្សេងទៀតអាចទទួលសំឡេងអាលីសាច្បាស់អត់
Yes, I hear you well.
Yeah. បាទលឺ បាទបង
ហើយជាអ្នកអត់លឺប្រហែលជាមកពីខាងគាត់អ៊ីនធឺណិតមានបញ្ហាខ្សោយ
បាទបងបាទ
ខាងខ្ញុំដូចជាលឺអត់ច្បាស់ហើយលឺងល់អត់ច្បាស់ផង
ប្រហែលជាមកពីអ៊ីនធឺណិតហ្នឹងបងព្រោះអីលោកគ្រូមួយចំនួនគាត់លឺច្បាស់អញ្ចឹងណាបងឬមួយក៏មកពីកាសអាចមកពីកាសអីចឹងណា
មុនហ្នឹងខ្ញុំលឺសូររៀងសំឡេងឡងតែឥឡូវពេលដែលខ្ញុំលេបហើយខ្ញុំជួញវិញដូចជាលេងអីហី
បាទបងបាទ
Okay, it seems to be working now. Thank you for your suggestion. Maybe it was just a matter of starting all over. Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen and hopefully this time it will really work. Okay, can you see the presentation? Yes, I think. Good, good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and I'm sorry about this little delay. So we are going to talk today about the criteria for a successful blended strategy. And I am going to start with a little housekeeping agenda today. So what I would like you to talk about today before we start with what we have on schedule is the presentation of the chosen competencies for each occupation. And we know that the electrical wiring group did that already, so we are just missing the rest of the groups that couldn't do it last time. After that, we will go over the calendar session, so you will see what you will be working on starting, well, last week and going towards the end of October. Then we will get into the core of today's session, so the blended strategy criteria. Then we will have some Q&A time, and finally, the break room activity. So if that's okay, I'd like for you guys to first go over really quickly on what we have done last week. So just to keep in mind when you work on the chosen competencies, that those are informed by the national occupational standards. And the national occupational standards are what help us define the learning outcome so that we can formulate that, associating the elements of occupational competencies and turning them into learning and training objectives. Now, what I'd like for you to do is to present in plenary the competencies that you have chosen for your occupation. So like we said, they are 4. and you will work on those going forward. So it is the very crucial steps in order for you and for us to start this blending transformation process. So I'm gonna stop sharing real quick, so that if you want, you can present what you have. If you didn't have time to do so, we can give you a couple of minutes to do so in plenary. Otherwise, if anybody wants to share, I have a little document, I have a Word document where I was writing down the electrical wiring competencies, and where I'll continue writing down the other competencies, and then I'll turn it into a nicer looking document. But if anybody needs to share, if anybody wants to use their spokesperson to share the competencies, this is the time.
Yes, thank you, Alicia. I think our participant have will share the selected competency. So let's start from the group housekeeping. From Pesa, I think he will present.
Thank you.
Susday Bong Dina.
Good afternoon, Lina.
Hello. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, you can present.
Yeah, actually, I'm from TSE, but I supposed to present about the front office skill, but she just like you know, I think she not able to present it, so I'm going to present both front office and housekeeping, and the skill competency that I selected is some. It's I think it's the same because we have the same competency between front office and housekeeping.
Okay, please
So-
go ahead. Are you gonna start with housekeeping? Although they are similar, are you gonna start with housekeeping or with
Yeah, I will start with housekeeping.
Okay, thank you.
But sorry, before I get my presentation, I just would like you to know this is based on my understanding, and I'm not sure if my presentation is clear and good enough for you. So expect it after my presentation. I will get the feedback and any correction from yours. So yes, let me go to the screen.
Thank you.
Bong Sarat, bongអាច share screen បានតែបង
ខ្ញុំ share សិន share thisគាត់មើលឃើញ screen របស់ខ្ញុំហ៎ Can you see
Can you see my screen? No,
Yeah,
not yet.
we see that you started sharing the screen, but we don't see the content yet. But
Maybe it's coming up.
yeah.
I think maybe it's about the internet connection that it cannot load on time. Or maybe you can just read it out just in case you cannot share the screen because we cannot see the screen.
So maybe yes, we do that. Just share you without screen. Okay.
Yeah, that works. Thank you.
Yeah. So there are 4 competencies that I'm going to share. The first one will be receive and resolve customer complaints. So the second one is work effectively with customer and college. And the third, clean and prepare room for incoming guests. And 4, communication on the telephone. So I will explain from number 1, number one, why I select this competency, because this competency is quite much technical skill. So of course, the student is able to be learn from home or learn from anywhere, and also some student can be study in a classroom.
Mhm.
And second one, work effectively with customer collect. It's also the kind of course and generic competency. So it's similar to the number one that I just explained. And number three, clean and prepare room for incoming guests. Even though this is the functional competency, but it requires less technical to practice. So student can do it like the role play after they finish the theory session. So they just come, sometime or one in a while to practice what they have learned. And the last one, number 4, is communication on telephone. So as you know, communication on telephone is about technique, but it's on the tool that we don't need to have student face-to-face study. So that's all for my presentation for the housekeeping.
Thank you. And I see that you're already thinking forward about what will be done online and what face-to-face. And thank you for that. I just have a quick question about number 2, work effectively with customer and colleagues. This is really wide. Are you thinking more of soft skills, or like you said, it's similar to the first one, so sometimes conflict resolutions and an issue on that order, or there's also more precise situation that you have in mind?
For this competency, yes, it's more on the soft skill, that's true. And the students, they we can ask them to role plays, like one as a customer, and then one as a staff, and then we need to understand about each of the different cultures and different language, then how they can compromise or cooperate well in any situation, any scenario.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for clarifying.
I would just like to jump in here, because I believe for the housekeeping we did adjust a little bit the final competencies. Mr. Sovanodom shared with us the final update, which actually doesn't match what our colleague just mentioned. So I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, thank you. For the number 4, communication on the telephone, is actually it's like the same competency to the front office, but for the housekeeping side is focused on the the housekeeping coordinator, that she needs to understand how to handle professionally by the telephone. And also part of housekeeping is related to the laundry operator. They need to answer the phone to handle in case that the guest request for the laundry service, so it's like that.
But in the Telegram group, Mr. Sovanodom shared the latest update, and we changed a little bit the competencies for housekeeping, so we don't actually repeat them from the front office. I'm just gonna put them on the chat, and then I don't know. Can we adjust to this or not? I'm not sure, because for me that was the latest update for housekeeping. For front office, I believe we keep the same that you shared with us on the Excel file yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely can. Actually, since I would say literally the first implementation for the blended study programs, we just want to select more on the cost and generic competency first. But of course, I mean, in the future, we even can do all the competency, even some of the functional skill, because I believe that we have enough, tool or any methods to blend it together to study. So, but for now, for me, my understanding, I just want to get more on the cost and generic competencies.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, no problem. I think I just want to double check with you and whoever else is in the housekeeping group that
Yes.
what we put in the chat, it's okay
Yes,
for
yes,
all. I
yes.
think most of those are generic or core. There is only one functional here, that is clean and prepare room for incoming guests, but the rest
Right.
are generic or core. So we'll be okay if we keep these ones for housekeeping?
For sure, can, yes.
Awesome. Then I
So-
let you continue with front office unless there's other questions.
Just real quick, I got the message from Enrique in the chat box, and so that will be final, right? Promote hospitality products and service to customers, work effectively with customers and colleagues, clean and prepare room for incoming guests, and then maintain customer quality services. So those are your final competencies.
If the group agrees, yes. I don't know. Will the rest agree?
So let's hear from our colleague from PSO, because we have also discussed this before, come up with the 4 competency.
So basically, from what the spokesperson just said and from what the chat box read, you will have two discrepancies. So the promote hospitality products and services to customer and maintain customer quality services, while you both had work effectively with customers and colleagues and clean and prepare room for incoming guests. So I guess you have to probably agree on promote hospitality products, and the last one, maintain customer quality services. While communication by telephone goes in the front office, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying.
Maybe I can, I mean, Mr. Sagat?
Yes.
If you want to share about the front office competencies, and if you want to write them on the chat too, so I think that will be easier. And then after that, I can share about the food and beverage.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So can you see my screen?
បងប្រហែលជាអត់អាចឃើញអញ្ចឹងព្រោះអីយើងអត់ឃើញទាំងអស់គ្នាអញ្ចឹងបងអាចទៅសេ competency ទាំង4ហ្នឹងចូលក្នុង chat ក៏បានដែរឬមួយក៏ខ្ញុំទៅសេឲ្យក៏បានដែរអីបងហើយចាំយើង discuss ត
Yes, please. Can you help me on that? Because I don't know why I can share screen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Turk, for sharing it.
So I have just dropped the 4 competency for the front office that we have agreed.
Thank you.
Alicia,
I've
can
noted
you
them.
share that?
Yes, I see them. So I have noted them. So maintain hospitality industry knowledge, provide bellboy porter services, communicate on the telephone, receive and resolve customer complaint. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So Bong Sarat, do you have any explanation, or do you need to, maybe we can proceed for another group?
Actually, I have explained it in the housekeeping already, but the different only the competency, just once is different, and the rest based on the explanation earlier already.
Okay, so maybe we
So
can go to
in case
another
that
group.
any members not really understand on the competency and select for the front office, you can raise up the question. So I'm happy to answer.
Thank you for sharing. And then you will have time today in the breakout rooms to just work on detailing these competencies, understand what will go online and face-to-face, but based on what we are discussing today. So if
Right.
Enrique, you want to share about food and beverages, the floor is yours.
Okay.
So if there is no questions, then should I share about the food and beverage?
Yes, please.
Or yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna put them, I'm gonna drop them on the chat too, so you can all see them. In this case, we actually chose most, I think all of those are functional. So also I think this brings a little bit of a mix, which it might be good to also maybe start tackling some functional competencies, to start to also identify a little bit the challenges of blending functional ones. And there are two of these functional ones: prepare and serve non-alcoholic beverage and prepare and serve cocktails, that somehow, I mean, they are very close to each other. So that might make it a bit easier to go through the blending of these two. And yeah, so I don't know if any other comments, questions? Does this sound good to the food and beverage team?
Okay, I think is it okay for the other?
I think it's, I mean, just gonna ask the question again, is it okay for everyone for all of this?
Yeah.
Because once we decide and confirm that those are the competencies we're gonna work for, there is no way back.
Yes.
So if you have any concern, you're not sure, you may want to change one, this is the time to say it.
For
បងរីណាហើយបងសារ៉ាត់អត់អីណាហើយបង
For my side and understanding, I saw the competency you choose is all functional, and I see some even the you know, like with the products. So like number 4, like prepare. Sorry, number 3, like prepare and serve cocktail. So this one, don't we need to have student practice in during the study, or just like study the theory?
I think for this, as you mentioned, there are two parts in the module. There are theory, and then there is, of course, the strong part of the practice, no? That you need the students to practice on how to prepare and serve cocktails. So you can still blend the competency, but you will basically focus on blending the theory part of it. So for instance, you transform the content materials into a blended learning set, and the practice will remain face-to-face. So it might actually be a little bit easier to actually blend, because you might have a little bit less content than for the core or generic competencies that have a little bit more theory than practice.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. And yes, you provided a good definition of blended, which we will see later today. So it doesn't mean that all of these competencies will go online. It will be an integration of online component and face-to-face component based on what functions better for the learning outcomes and the pedagogical aims of your course. So we will see that in details later on, but thank you, Enrique, for clarifying that. So if tourism and hospitality is done, I guess we need the competencies from masonry and the plumbing group. Anybody that wants to volunteer to go first?
Okay, maybe we can start with plumbing.
អញ្ចឹង
សូមលោកគ្រូសម្បូរអាចជួយបង្ហាញតិចបានទេបងថាយើងបានជ្រើសរើស competency អីខ្លះណាបង
Okay, so Mr. Sambo, can you present the competencies you selected? Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Sarat, can you share? Can you close your screen? Let me share my screen. Next. You see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so in plumbing, let me speak Khmer. Okay. Sure, yeah. Well, for plumbing, so level 2, we don't have level 1. So these are basic. We have basic and core competencies, and the basic competencies. So we will not use it for blending, because most of them are related to soft skill. So, but we focus more on core ones, and in which there are 5 UCs, 5 competencies. So in our discussion, we chose 4 of them for blending. So they include, so first preparing pipes for installation, or UC 1, UC 2, and so installing connections, joints, and the piping, and 3, simple operations, and number 4, assembly, and also assembly of water pipes. And so there are several criteria here that we're going to discuss. So which criteria you see we should use for blending our course? Yeah. So we will discuss that later. And here we just focus on the 4 competencies. So let me present the UC1. Yeah. So the core competency that's related to the first one, which is preparing pipes for assembly. So that in which we discuss other elements, including criteria and what will go online, what will go face to face, for blending, plumbing level 2. That seems it for our group for plumbing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you, Turk, for putting them in the chat box. So if everybody agrees and nobody has any question, we can go and ask the masonry group to share what the companies they chose are.
បាទលោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូនៅក្នុងក្រុម plumbing ឬមួយក៏លោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូនៅក្រុមផ្សេងអាចបើសិនជាមានសំណួរតើតើ
Okay, for those who are in the plumbing group or any questions on the 4 competencies, you can ask.
So I assume that question, so we can proceed to the masonry group. អញ្ចឹងសូមតំណាងពីក្រុម masonry អាចបង្ហាញបាននេះថាយើងបានរើស competency ទាំង4នឹងអីខ្លះអញ្ចឹងបាទ
So can this group present what competencies you chose? Yeah, sure. Okay. Good afternoon, the masonry group. Are you there?
Chẳng mấy mà xuân rỉ sạch chừng.
Mônนี้ខ្ញុំឃើញ
Is there any representative from the masonry group that wants to share? Otherwise, I can just maybe call some of them and see if they're here. I don't know if Mr. Habsamba or Mr. Lam or Kiev.
ដូចជាលោកគ្រូពិសិដ្ឋអាច share បានទេ
So Mr. Pisat, can you share? But I don't seem to see him here.
Miss Dolam or Mr. Chivanak? Anyone representing that group is there, maybe? Let me check. There is somebody that still has their name in Khmer. I wonder if maybe you belong to Masonry, or if you can just put your name in Western character, so that's easier for us for the breakout rooms later.
Some đãឈ្មោះជាអក្សរអង់គ្លេសណាដើម្បីងាយស្រួលក្នុងការប្របែកក្រុម
ថ្ងៃមុននេះយើងហៅ
Okay, so Mr. Pisat, can you present? Because the person who was supposed to present is not here. Pisat, can you present the 4 competencies that you chose? What are they, please? So I'm just trying to share my screen. You can go to the arrow icon. Yeah, please. Here we go.
Thank you. Yeah, we can see your screen. Thank you.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to say about them?
Okay. So do you see my screen? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So last week, so the masonry group selected 4 competencies, including there are 2 core and 2 basic. So for basic competencies, we have received and responded to workplace communication and the job value demonstration. And for core competencies, there are also 2, including occupational safety and health procedures, compliance, and prepare materials, tools, and equipment for masonry. So we selected these are 4. Yeah, 2 core and 2 basic. Yeah, that seems it for our group.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I am curious about the job values demonstration, but it is something that we can definitely talk about it. If not today, definitely next time we see each other, you know, how to find a way to blend competencies that seems to be really tackling the soft skills part, and something like job values is definitely something that is worth having a conversation about. So maybe you have some ideas in mind already. Anyway, based on what we are discussing today, you will be able to start understanding what will go online and what will stay face-to-face among the competencies that you have chosen. So thank you everybody for sharing. Thank you so much for your presentation. And if Mr. Tien can stop sharing, I will proceed and share my screen, hopefully with no issues this time. Thank you. Thank you so much. So you should be able to see my screen right now. And thank you for sharing once again. So what I wanted to show you really quick, you will receive this document as well by email, but this is the sessions calendar that you will be exposed to starting now and going forward until the end of October. As we have seen last time, we have 5 main modules, one being the introduction of the course, that was a standalone one. Then we have the blended strategy definition, in which we are right now, and will be made of 3 sessions. And then we will be the longest module, which is the digital material and resources, which is the fit for purpose creation of digital material and resources for your course. Then we have the curricula implementation one. And then finally, we have the thematic webinar. So being thematic webinars, we do have one that is already that has been developed. We need to create the last one, and this will be based basically on your needs and if there's anything that you want to tackle more versus other topics. And then we will have the concluding session, and this is obviously to be determined as well. But like I said, you will receive this document in the next few days. So we are going to talk about the blended strategy criteria today. And I know that some of you have already a clear idea or a clearish idea on what to expect. But I think it's worth it to review for somebody that did it already, and to start anew for the people that are listening to these conversations for the first time. So like we were saying before, blended learning is not putting something face-to-face and then leaving something else online based on some trendy use of digital technologies, or or based on what seems to be the latest fashion in learning design. But it is the thoughtful integration of classroom face-to-face learning experience with online learning experience. So it is thoughtful. It is something that you really have to think about, and we want to give you some guidelines to really have a thorough reflection on what will stay face-to-face and what will go online. So we have 3 characteristics for blended learning. One is time, then we have space, and then interaction. And when we talk about time, it means that this learning activity can happen at the same time, or at different time, or at both modalities. So for example, we are having a synchronous one. So you are learning as I speak. So this is happening real time. But if some of you today couldn't attend, they will be able to watch this recording at their own pace whenever they have the time to do so. And so this will be a learning experience that happened at a different time from when it was first presented. Then we have the space, obviously, and when we do blended learning, you know that you will have face-to-face or in-person learning situation where we are all in the same place, or when we are in different locations, like it is happening right now. Of course, I wish I could be in Cambodia, but yeah, I am in Switzerland and I am here sharing a learning experience with you. Or it can happen hybridly, meaning that maybe some of you will be sitting here with me in Switzerland, while some of you will have to stay in Cambodia. The interaction is a really crucial one. So it concerns how we engage and involve our students. So for example, there could be a no participation. For example, the people that will watch the recording will probably have less access to interaction unless they communicate with you via Telegram or with me via email. Otherwise, if they watch this recording, they will do that on their own. This could be a limited participation, where there is a restricted or structured participation. And then there are situations where the level of interaction, it is so important for the successful learning scenario that the activity has to be dynamic and there has to be interactions. So what combination works best between these three attributes is decided by the learning outcomes that you are trying to achieve and the resources that you have at hand. But keep in mind that it is the learning outcome that will guide your decision-making process when designing your training or your lessons, as well as the user characteristics and not the tools that you have available. So this is really important, and we will see how that impacts our design. I wanted to share with you some blended transformation criteria. Like I said, you will receive all of this information. This Genially presentation will be available to you. I know that we don't have much time, so bear with me if I speak a little faster. But the first criteria you need to keep in mind is the time investment. So when you go blended, you just don't need to think about the time that you will need to use to create your lesson, but also the time that you will have to use to understand how to use the technology. Then you have to think about content perennity. So always choose a format that once it's created will require little changes. So for example, I'm thinking of animations. Animation are really trendy. They help people learn really effectively because of their combination of animated videos and words and audio. But once you create an animation, which is also very expensive, you have little room for change. You will have to call a provider to do so, and this has a cost. So think about something that you can reuse and recycle. Then you will have to think about the learner skills. So always familiarize yourself with the level of digital competencies of your learner. Make sure they have the guidance that they need and they have the adjustment that they need. So think about inclusion. Make sure access to the same material that everybody else has. So if you know that you're visually impaired, don't create a presentation that is pretty much just images. If you have some images, make sure that you add a description, an audio description for them. So keep in mind inclusion. And that is obviously related to the support that you're giving to the learners. So no matter your modality, if you are face-to-face or if you work with them remotely, always keep in mind what you can do for them and train your trainers. So teachers must be equipped to design, plan, and conduct a blended lesson, and they need to understand what tool they can use to make sure they provide the best possible learning scenario. So for example, if you are training nurses in an anatomy class, you should show images, not just words. You know, for example, it is under plumbers, on the components of some plumbing tools. Components of some plumbing, and the more details this image are, the better chances of learning your students will have. And content adaptation, if you know that there's going to be severe weather warnings and the internet might be down, make sure that this content will be able to be delivered also in a face-to-face setting, just in case your online option is no longer available, because again, option is no longer available because again, a hurricane or some weather to be continuing, not only your needs, but also that of your learners. So think about, again, once again, the inclusion and the needs of your students. And pedagogical skills are not just the one thing to consider for a successful blended learning activity. You have to understand the challenges that the learners will face. So make sure that you have an empathic presence, even if it is not a face-to-face setting. So make sure you are available via email, via Telegram. Make sure that your students know that you are there, no matter the distance. So talking about learning situation and learning of the following. You want to activate prior knowledge in a lesson. You want to be able to introduce, and you want them to be able to synthesize and integrate what they have learned. And here, there is a little tip that tool is best used based on the learning objective. So again, I don't know if we have much time, but you will have this generally for yourself to go all of these delivery aids. This is really important. This is the list of activities based on the delivery mode that is more appropriate. So for example, to happen face-to-face. And for example, that happens when the law tells us so. That happens when we are using high-risk material that could be dangerous for people at home and their family. We need to use face-to-face activity when we are employing high-cost tool or machinery that cannot be replaced. So professional equipment or personal protective equipment, for example. And a situation where you need to monitor and being compliant with the protocols for the execution of professional activities. Then you have activities that can be delivered both face-to-face or online. For example, professional activity that depend on the organization of work team. So anytime you have a supervision, a follow-up or guidance and interaction among groups, you can choose between the two modalities. You can also do the same with professional processes or activities that require the analysis of the student's production. You can do that with simulation, and you can have both for the use of models and users that needs to perform certain procedures or projects. So once again, with simulation. Then you can have completely online delivery mode, and that usually happens when you are working on theoretical or professional knowledge that can be shared through video or simulators, immersive resources, digital games, and other resources. You can do that with activities that mobilize group exercise, collective knowledge, brainstorming, reflection, debates, and prototypes presentation. And then with professional activities that require, for example, data collection from primary and secondary sources. So primary resources are just first-hand testimony or direct evidence on topics, while secondary resources is the work and the documents that analyze and interpret the primary resources. So pretty much anything that is just theoretical can be completely done online. So, just to summarize, many factors, as you have seen, play into the decision of what can stay face-to-face and what can go online, specifically time, infrastructure, and the interaction with the learners. But what we suggest is for you to choose tools that you can mostly manage by yourself or with the help of your IT team. So it is always better to be independent when using technological tools. So I have prepared a couple of transformation guiding questions. Those are pretty much some questions that can help you reflect on the objectives of your online activity, and it can guide you in choosing the most appropriate modality and technology for its development. So the first one is, what is the intended learning outcome of the activity? So you should make the aim of the learning outcome always very clear and attainable. This will facilitate the choice of resources and material, and it will help you align the content with the context and the instructional strategy, as well with the learning activity and the assessment So everything will work in a holistic way, so in a synergy to support your learners' outcome achievement. Then you have to ask yourself, what is the expected duration of the activity? And that depends on the learning outcomes. So you have activities that can be short and straightforward, and that can be done in a short amount of time, or that can be really complex and involving collaboration between learners. So they require a longer time frame. But regardless of their duration, all activities should foster meaningful engagement with the content and not just become ways to keep the learner busy. The third guiding question is, which technology and media should I employ? And that's a big one. Once again, keep it simple. Use the intended learning outcome of the activity as a starting point to decide which media delivery tools and components are the most suitable to achieve the activity's goal. And then last but not least, ask yourself, how will learners communicate with each other and with me, the instructor? Online activities require the same level of involvement as those that we carry out face-to-face. And so, like we see before, always provide your learners with opportunity to ask questions, whether that is via email, chat, discussion boards, forum, or any other tools that you have prepared to make sure that they feel your empathetic presence. So here are just 3 tips, 3 quick takeaways for you. So always ask yourself whether the use of technology simplifies, enhance, and facilitate the learning experience. So if the answer to this question is no, then maybe the use of technology is not what you want for you right now. I have a message in the chat box, and I want to make sure, yes, that everything is, yes, nobody has a question for me. Introduce the learning architecture from the beginning. So always have, and this is really important for clarity, always have a small section where you have a description of what you're going to present, their duration, the instructional modality, and the objective. And if you have extra resources, provide a link to them. And then always introduce the social components. So always make sure that you tell your students how they'll be able to interact among each other and with you. So it seems like we won't have time to break out today, but this is something that you can do this week on your own. And please let me know if that's a possibility. But the activity that is required from you is for each competencies learning outcome to define what activities will stay face-to-face and those that will be delivered online. So once again, just very schematically, you just have to tell me what you think is good for a face-to-face interaction because of the reason that we have just seen in this presentation and what will be delivered online. So my suggestion for the next session is to review what we have presented here. Again, you will receive this Genially presentation and really use it for you to create a table of what will be something that stays face-to-face and what goes online among the 4 competencies that you have created. Next time, we will look at some of the most digital tools that are the most suitable digital tools, and you will be able to define the blended strategy that is better for the chosen competencies. So let me just quickly stop share my presentation. I know that I have been going pretty quickly. I apologize for that, but I know that we have some time limitation. So please make sure that you find the time to meet with your group and come up with what should stay on face-to-face and what will go online. And to do so, please use this tool, this Genially presentation, as a way to guide you in this endeavor. So I feel like if anybody, sorry, just one quick question on. Okay, if you want, we can have some times to do that now. I don't know if anybody can maybe stay here a little longer and start this reflection right now, if everybody is okay with that. I'm happy to stay here for 15 more minutes. It depends on you know, on what you have scheduled for today. Otherwise, you can do it on your own. It's up to you. If you can let me know your preference, I'm happy to help. Maybe
Yes,
towards,
thank you, Alicia.
yeah,
I
thank you,
will
Tori.
ask the participant. អញ្ចឹងលោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូដោយសារតែយើងចំណាយពេលយូរលើការ present អំពី competency ណាអញ្ចឹងទៅអត់អីណាបើសិនជាយើងអាចលើក15នាទីអញ្ចឹងណា
បាទអត់អីទេប៉ុន្តែ
Okay, so can we go over the schedule by 15 minutes or so? It's fine. So don't forget to drop the guidelines for us so that we know what should go face to face, what should go online. Yeah, so should we share the slide following this training?
It's okay to exceed 15 minutes, and the participants suggest that it would be great if you can share the slides right after the training so that we can follow that as a guideline to work on the breakout room.
For sure, I'll do that as soon as we say goodbye. So I'm sorry. So that means that you would like to do it now, or
trong phơi lấy đưa cổ nâng ấy ở tại đây lực xây mới phải là 15 tiếng tiết hay to tiết bản sân và trong to.
Because I can share it right here. I can share the Genially link right here in the chat box for you if you want to do it now, or if you prefer to
share ម្ដងភ្ជាប់ហ្នឹងគឺទៅក្នុងប្រអប់ chat ណាបើសិនមកចង់បានលើនេះ
Just in case, I'm gonna type it here. And then you will also receive it via email so that people that were not here today can access to it.
អ្នកនៅទទួលបានតាម email ដែរណាសម្រាប់អ្នកដែលអត់បានចូលរួមនៅថ្ងៃនេះ
Okay, thank you for sharing.
គាត់លេខ slide ចឹងមកអត់មាន slide ជា PowerPoint អីដែលយើងអាច download ទុកអីមើល
Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
Sir, can we have the PowerPoint slides?
Is it downloadable or do you?
Yes, so I put it in the chat box. If you can let me know if you can see it. Otherwise, I will just put them in the email as well. As soon as we're done, as soon as you either say goodbye or either want to already start reflecting in group. So we have already created breakout rooms for you to get into.
យើងបានបង្កើតនៅបន្ទប់8ក្រុមសម្រាប់អ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាចូលទៅ បន្ទប់8ក្រុមដើម្បីសម្រេចថាមានសកម្មភាពសិក្សាណាត្រូវអនុវត្តទល់មុខគ្នាឬក៏រក្សាទុកដដែលឬយ៉ាងម៉េច
I know that our sessions usually last 1 hour, but if you need it, I'm happy to stay a little longer and provide you with the breakout rooms. But again, it's up to you. Just let me know so that that we know how to proceed. Otherwise, and you know, it's just whatever makes it easy for you.
I think we can I can arrange another discussion with each group. So then next week we can do it later. Because it's gonna be time consuming for discussion.
ក្នុងការភាសាក្នុងការភាសា
Yeah, so just to sum up, you have two options. One, we have 15 minutes in breakout rooms, and then the other one is you just autonomously organize and work on it for the next time that we meet.
Yeah, actually, we can autonomously work on it later, and then we will come up with what to be face-to-face or not, and inform you back in the next sessions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tork. and thank you all. So once again, you have the link in the chat box, and you will receive both the recording and the link to this Genially via email in the next few minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Alicia.
Thank you,
And the
guys.
next training session will be on the same date and the same time.
Exactly. You will receive the link and the reminder as well, but we are keeping Tuesday at the same time for the foreseeable future.
All right, thank you. So, អញ្ចឹងលោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូដោយសារតែយើងអត់មានពេល
Okay, so since our time is up, and since we were supposed to do some breakout room work, so now she just explained they need to focus on the learning outcomes, and what should go face to face, what should be kept the same, or what should be blended. So she just shared the links, to you all. So at the end of this session, maybe each group will have to meet to discuss what competencies, learning outcomes should go face to face, what should go, should be kept the same. So I will have arranged those meetings to decide what will be conducted face to face, what will be blended. I've got a question on face to face or blending. Actually, from what she presented, face to face is also part of the blending strategy, but sometimes some competencies or half go online, half go face to face, and some 100% online. So that's what I wanted to clarify. That means face to face, whether it's face to face or but face to face is also blend, part of the blending.
Yes, so blended is the integration of face-to-face and online based on the outcomes that you want to achieve, not just based on how trendy and edgy a new technology is. But again, if you go back to the presentation, you'll be able to read it at your own pace or to listen to it at your own pace and make sense of all the information that we have given you today. I know it's a lot. We had to condense a lot of information in a short amount of time. So hopefully the Genially, when you access it at your own rhythm, will help you understand better. Otherwise, we are always available via email if you have any questions. You have our emails in the one that you receive every week. So you can reach out to me individually if you need to, for sure.
Okay, I'll go Alicia. So blended.
Okay, thank you, Alicia. And Sarat, you were right. So some competencies can go face to face, some can go online. Your summary was correct. Okay. Just want to inform others here. If you have any questions, you can ask before we end today.
For sure, please.
I've got a question. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. So, what we're going to do next is to look at each of the competencies and also its content to see what should go online, what should go face to face. Yeah. Am I right? Yes.
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 Exactly.
What should be kept face to face? What should be kept online? What should be blended? Yeah, between the two, and why? You can explain a little bit too. Yeah, why? You do that face to face or online. Yeah, if any. Yeah.
Yeah, and the explanation.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
The explanation behind your choice can be discussed among the group, and then we will provide you feedback once you come here with your thoughts and your ideas for your course, for sure. So yes, blended is the integration of online and face-to-face. So you will have something that just stays face-to-face because you are using machinery that requires it by law or because it's risky. And then you have something that can go completely online, or then you can have courses or units, parts of your units that can be presented both online and face-to-face, and that will be your choice. And you can refer to the little table that we have in the Genially presentation for that. So don't worry about thinking about the technology yet. We will see that next time. So just what we want you to do now is to start reflecting on what goes online and what stays face-to-face.
Just to confirm, it is something like simple and short, right?
Exactly, very much so. Thank you so much. Yes, very simple. We have up until October to deep dive into the details and find out about the tools and how to use them. So for now, it's just very easy. Well,
yeah.
a nice and easy reflection.
បងសារ៉ាត់ហើយរីណាតនណាមានអីជាសំណួរផ្សេងទៀតអត់ទេ
ខ្ញុំចង់សុំសួរបញ្ជាក់លេងតិចបងចង់ដឹងថា
I want to know. So she wanted us to choose how many competencies to present for each session. Do we need to choose the competencies in the curriculum? All competencies? No, the four competencies.
The four
that you've selected.
competencies, correct? Yes.
បងសារ៉ាត់អញ្ចឹងបញ្ជាក់ឡើងវិញគឺ4 competency ដែលយើងបាន present មិញហ្នឹងឯងណាដែលយើងយកមកញែកវាអ្នកណាផ្នែកណា online ផ្នែកណា face to face អញ្ចឹងណា
Okay តន់បងអរគុណច្រើនបង
តែត្រូវចាំថា keep it simple and short.
Okay, got it. Yeah, just keep it simple and short. Huh? So we will have some more sessions in the future too. Okay.
Exactly.
Any more questions? One clarification. So that means the 4 competencies that we selected. So we will see what can be delivered face to face, what that can be delivered online, and what can be blended. Yeah, for face to face and online. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So that means each competency has some sub-elements, including learning outcomes. But for example, like in competency A, yeah. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and like there are 2. One is kept face to face, one goes online, and that all. And also, you could also explain why? Yeah, you keep that face to face. Yeah, briefly. Okay, got it.
Exactly.
Thank
so,
you.
for example, I'm thinking conflict resolution is one of the competencies that was chosen, and I'm sure that within conflict resolution, you will have different units that you have to tackle with their own learning outcomes. So each of them will have something that can be done online and something that you prefer having in a face-to-face setting. So this is what we want you to start reflecting on and just say, this will be face-to-face, this will be online.
បាទលោកសារ៉ាត់មិនចាំបន្ថែមអី
Okay, Sanat, you wanted to add something? Well, let me add a little bit. And with the 4 competencies, yeah, I think that too many. So here we need to identify the units in each competency. There can be 3, 4, 5 units per competency. Yeah, based on the criteria, I think we should choose which any uses, not the 4 at one time. Otherwise, it will be confusing. So whenever we split according to the learning outcomes, in which their criteria range and the pattern knowledge and skills that we need to develop contents for the unit. And as you know, then we can decide what should go online, which should go face to face, or what should go blended. Yeah, that's why I wanted to
blended is already blended is not like a third modality. Blended is the integration of online face-to-face. So we are working on a blended course, and its components are some to stay face-to-face and some to go online. So you have two options for the blended. So you have to think about the blended as a box, and inside, which is the box of your course, and inside you have something that goes online and something that stays face-to-face. But the blended is the characteristic of the course because it's made of parts that are face-to-face and parts that are online.
Alicia, Mr. Sambo just mentioned that we should work only one competency, and then to detail it on element, on criteria, on range, on training package, for instance, to see what session should be online, what session should be remaining face-to-face, or the mixture of online and face-to-face. So he said one unit competency first, and then extend to the other three. What is your suggestion?
That's up to you. So the goal for this course was to have 4 competencies completely blended. But of course, once you understand how to blend, you will be able to blend 100 courses. So you next time, based on the duration and based on the units inside of a competence, you can come to us with one that has, for all the elements, the division between face-to-face and online, but then you know that you will on your own continue to work on the other ones too. But like I said, once you learn how to do this process, then you can apply it. And the reason why we are talking about 4 is because that was the request that came to us from the higher ups, from the request of this course was to then have 4 competencies completely blended. So if that's no longer something that you think can work for you because maybe it's too much, or we can definitely talk about it. But for next time, at least start working on one full competence with all
Okay.
these
Okay, thank you, Alexa. Chẳng là vô sân bố chia dùng bỏ trong những cái thà
I think in my opinion, I suggest you can try 1 to 4, but you can start with the 1 at the panel discussion, but we will not finish it with that 1, but we will expand and based on the tools, and we will decide what should go online, and then we will use some tools to deliver to our students. So there will be more sessions, and the next session is the starting point for reflection, and if possible, you can consider the 4, and then you will also have time to reflect as you move along. And at least you can start with 1 or 2, or if you could, you can also do the 4. Keep it simple and short. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Do others have any questions or remarks? Sabo, Sarat, Lina, any? Silence means no. So thank you all so much. Thank you for taking your time participating in the session this afternoon, and see you all again next week. And Dom will touch base with you on the breakdown of the 4 competencies that you selected. So once again, thank you so much, and wish you all the best, and see you next week.
Thank you so much for everybody. Looking forward to see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.